Howdy, folks. I'm Restful Red Banded Hairstreak, readily resting on rough roots.
I'm Amber.
And here are more rough roots for us to rest upon, and rest we shall. So let's get started on that. Alright, folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Not Carrying My Partner's Heavy Equipment Bag? Well, the other day, my partner came over to my house, and just as he was about to leave, he asked me to pick up his heavy equipment bag for him. I looked at him, and I chuckled, because I thought that he was joking by requesting that of me. Except he wasn't joking. He had a straight face and looked serious. He asked me again to pick it up. I told him that I'm not picking up that heavy bag when he could pick it up by himself, and he stayed quiet. He looked annoyed, standing there, looking at his bag, waiting for me to grab it. I told him that I'm not picking up the heavy bag when he could get it himself. Well, later on, he was leaving and looked bothered, and I asked him what was wrong, and he said it was because I didn't pick up his bag for him. I told him that I didn't want to, and that my own dad and brothers don't make me pick up heavy things for them, so I don't understand why my own partner would ask me or expect that of me. Eventually, he got over it and acted like everything was normal, but to me, it was very strange of him to make me do that. I don't know, am I the jerk for not picking up his heavy bag as he requested? Edit, I left some details out regarding how heavy the bag was. It was full of work tools from his job. He was standing by the doorway of my room and asked me to reach for it and carry it. He was not carrying anything else. He was perfectly capable of carrying the bag. He was not injured. He is stronger than me, which is why I thought that it was really silly that he would want me to carry it for him. I would gladly help him with any task or request that he needs of me. I just thought it was weird for him to make me carry his heavy bag all the way out to his car. I'm not sure why he was so persistent on making me pick up his work bag either. It was out of character of him to make me do something like that for him. Edit 2, to answer who was closer to the bag, he was. The bag was on the floor by the entrance of my door. My partner was standing at the entrance of the door, which was wide open. I was sitting at the edge of my bed facing him. He was closer to the bag. I wouldn't have had an issue with carrying the bag if he had actually needed help, if he were injured, or if he had his hands full, but neither of those things happened. Nor did he say why I should get it for him. Not that I need an explanation, but he wanted me to just get up and grab the bag for him and haul it to his car while he carried nothing. Edit 3, I'm a woman, by the way. Also, what in the world is the manosphere test? Because now I'm concerned. All right, folks, what do you think?
Not the jerk. This does seem like some very weird test that he's doing. Like, if he's the one who's closer to the bag, has no injuries, and is perfectly capable of carrying the bag, there's no reason for the OPS to carry it, especially since she's the weaker person. Like, it makes zero sense.
Yeah, it does make no sense. So, I mean, I did try to look up information about a manosphere test, and I'm just guessing from what it sounds like, it's just a test to determine, like, social hierarchy and stuff like that. And
Yeah, I mean, it seems like there could be one of two motives. One is to see if she will just do whatever he says, no question. Two, it would be like, since she is weaker than him, to like kind of like put her in the place and be like, remind her that like, you don't have to do this kind of stuff because I'm a man.
yeah, I mean, I'm a little concerned about exactly what his motives here are, and I think that OP did the right thing in this particular case. Like, there wasn't any good reason for them to pick up his bag and carry it out to his car. He has two hands, he can carry his own stuff, right? And like OP said, if there had been like a good reason for it, then I don't think that she would have had a problem with this. But I mean, it just sounds like he wanted to exert control over her more than anything. It's a little bit concerning behavior.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And iHeartWord says, I get the response of, if your partner asks for help, just try, but OP stated that she knew the bag contained work tools and the partner didn't have anything in their hands. My father has a tool bag that I literally cannot lift, and I know this. There's no reason to try. OP also describes the partner's demeanor, not can you please help me, but a straight-faced repeated command. Pick it up. This feels like some kind of control test. I'll probably get ripped apart for this, but not the jerk. And Chore says, definitely feels like a control thing, like he was testing her obedience or something. And No Falling Upwards says, not the jerk, sounds like he tried to pull some "this will show you if she truly loves you" kind of challenge that he had seen on TikTok. I mean, it does feel like something like that, you know? And Glory4 says, given OP's edit, not the jerk, and I would consider this to be a major red flag. Multiple red flags. Not only did he pull some kind of weird power move on you, but he also got butt hurt when it didn't work. He showed you who he is. You should be thinking real hard about things. Info. Why did he ask you to pick it up? Was he carrying something else? Was he hurt? I'm just trying to figure out if there was some kind of valid reason for him to be in need of some kind of help here, or if this was some kind of weird power move on his part. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Partner That He Needs to Live on His Own? My partner, a 40-year-old male, has been staying at my house, a 42-year-old female's, for the past week. Last night, the topic of living together came up. He said that the only fair way to split bills was go 50-50 on everything. We both earn similar amounts, so fair enough. So I brought up the topic of splitting household jobs, and his response was, I'm much slower than you, so I'll do the kitchen and you can handle the rest. Taking 2 hours to clean the dishes and a further 2 hours to wipe sides and clean the floor. I suggested that he needs to learn to do it faster, and his response was, I'll do it at my pace, I won't be going quicker. I pointed out that it's not a fair division if I'm paying half the bills and doing 90% of the household jobs. So I suggested that I'll do 90% of the household jobs and pay 10% of the bills. He's now complaining that it's not fair and I only want him for his money. His family are telling me that he's just a bit slower to do stuff and that I should just deal with it. I've now told him that I won't even consider living with him until he's lived on his own for at least a year and can prove that he can look after himself. He's never lived independently, always lived with his parents, partner, or housemates. I'm now being called a jerk because I've said that I'm not being used for free labor. So am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. I think you are making a very, very wise move here, OP.
Yeah.
This sounds like it's probably weaponized incompetence. If it isn't, though, then I think that learning how to do this on his own is a great thing. He has had people catering to him his entire life. He needs to figure out how to be an adult and be a partner.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's about the sum of it. If he's had everyone always looking out for him and he hasn't figured any of this stuff out and he just claims that it's a matter of slowness, then maybe he needs some time on his own to see how to get better at these jobs, right?
Right. Well, and I can understand being slow because I am a very slow cleaner myself, but, I kind of like to break things down into tiny little chunks and do them little pieces at a time over a longer stretch of time. There's nothing wrong with him doing something like that. Like, if he is genuinely slower, that is okay, that is understandable, but he needs to figure out how to do it in a way where he's still contributing to the household and not passing all the work on to OP.
Yeah, I mean, there's something, I can certainly understand, the division of the labor being a little bit lopsided if one person spends a lot of extra time doing things, but this feels a little closer to like malicious incompetence than it does an actual sincere. Like if they had a disability, for instance, where they just could not, do chores at the same rate. Oh yeah, I mean, you're not going to have a fair distribution of chores at that point in time, right?
Right, yeah, but it does feel more to me kind of like what you were saying, like this is an intentional, I'm not willing to learn or try, I've never had to do chores, and so you should just take the lion's share.
Yeah, so I think that OP needs to stand their ground in this particular case, unless there is a very good reason why he can't do, 50% of the chores, or 40% of the chores even, right?
Right. Well, and I think OP also made a great compromise of like, well, if I'm going to do most of the work, you can pay most of the money. He's refusing to do any compromise here.
Well, I can understand, like, a little bit, pay a little bit more. And maybe they need to look into getting a maid or something like that too, right? If they can both afford it, then that might be a good compromise. But, I just think that there's something that doesn't quite seem right in this particular case. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And OK Passage 6242 says, this is what every woman's response should be when a man tries to move in with her and take over her space, not the jerk. And Heavy Ad 545 says, another jerk, 4 hours to clean a kitchen and do no other chores is weaponized incompetence. If he can't pay 50-50 and do 50-50 of the chores, do not live with him. No one needs to take care of a grown-up child. And Green Understanding 39 says, and there's a third option here. If he's bad at so many basic household tasks, he can hire out for his half, problem solved. But he is not looking to be fair, he's looking to profit off of OP's labor. And Just Another Slug says, lol, so not the jerk. What is this man even bringing to the relationship? More red flags than a Chinese military parade. And Hummus Sapiens replies, very clean plates, like very. Women do this when you negotiate with the chores. Oh, I am so slow just at ironing your shirts and it will take hours, if not days, so you do the rest. That's only fair. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Throwing My Husband a Party? Hi everyone, throwaway. I'm a 51-year-old female and I love party planning and to surprise my family and friends. Some call me the quote-unquote blinding sunshine because I always try to spread joy wherever I go. So last week my husband turned 60 and I decided to go all out and throw him a surprise party on the actual day of his birthday. As opposed to celebrating on a weekend, as most people do in my experience. It was a Tuesday, and he had a long day at work, but I thought that the surprise would make his day. I invited everyone, for example, his cousins, friends, our kids, and their friends, 21-year-old male and a 19-year-old female, our neighbors, and even his cousins' kids and grandchildren. I also invited his 88-year-old mom, who gets confused sometimes, but deep down is really such a sweetheart. Well, when my husband walked through the door, he looked exhausted, but he was greeted by about 50 people yelling surprise, and our living room with balloons, streamers, and lights that I had set up. I could see that he was exhausted, but I figured that once he saw how happy everyone was for the celebration, he would be happy. Well, instead, he pulled me aside looking annoyed and whispered that he wished that I had planned this out with him or given him some notice so that he could mentally prepare and rest first. He told me that he was exhausted and he really just wanted a quiet evening as he had a long day at work. To be honest, I am annoyed at his unwillingness to accept surprises. He never transitions well and needs things planned out in advance, which is annoying, and I don't appreciate him using work as an excuse to get out of spending time with the family, especially when I put in all this effort to celebrate him. But thankfully he put on a brave face for everyone else and was polite to everyone. His mom looked pretty confused with the whole thing and kept repeatedly asking whose birthday it was. And husband was annoyed that he had to keep an eye on her because I invited her. Now, a few hours after the party, he's clearly irritated. My kids told me that I should have given him a heads up or scaled down the party, but honestly, I just wanted to gnaw out. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
Yes, you're the jerk. OP, who is this party for? It sounds more like it's for you than it is for him. It seems like you know that he doesn't like surprises, that he wants to be prepared and have things planned out, and you did this anyway. You seem to have no respect for the work, like, because a lot of people have parties on the weekend because people aren't working so they can celebrate. Like, he's coming home from a long day of work. He needs heads up before he socializes. What do? Immediately swarm him with a bunch of people.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem I have here. I mean, I could have understood this if this had been just like a one-off type of thing where he was really exhausted on this one particular day, but in general, like surprises and surprise parties. But it sounds like OP is well aware that he doesn't like surprises. And they're like, well, he always takes time to, like, get used to these surprises and stuff like that. Well, maybe he just doesn't like surprises. And certainly, like, it's nice that OP wanted to do something nice for him, but, surprise parties and stuff like that really need to be tailored towards the individual. Mm-hmm. If you know your husband comes home exhausted, maybe plan it for the weekend, right? Because then it would be an even bigger surprise because he probably wouldn't even be expecting it on the weekend, right? So, I don't know. I just think that OP probably took this a little too far. And they probably should have had a smaller party if they really wanted to do something.
Yeah, well, it seems like she resents that he's not being exactly as she wants him to. Like, she actually seems to resent the fact that he needs time. Like, not everyone can go straight from working into party mode. Not everyone is super social. And a lot of people, if you're an introvert, your day may get, your energy reserves get drained at work, socializing with all the people at work. You need time to recharge. Like, it seems like OP is probably a very extroverted person who loves socializing and almost resents that he doesn't like that. And so instead of accepting and understanding that her partner has a different way of being, she's trying to force him to be like her. And that I really don't like.
Yeah, I mean, it's not good at all. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Centrifuge.
We know who really doesn't like surprises.
The wheel doesn't, surprisingly, the wheel doesn't like surprises. And Mean Recording 2076 says, it seems like you wanted it more for yourself to be the host of throwing a party than caring if the guy whose birthday it was actually wanted that. And Plant Nerd Schooly Fan says, personally, I think that surprise parties are usually a terrible idea. But in this case, OP said that he never transitions well and needs things planned out in advance. So that right there tells us that he's not the kind of person who would ever want a surprise party. Sounds like you threw a party for the man that you wanted him to be, not the man that he is, which makes you the jerk.
I like the way that commenter put it.
Yeah. And Unbuttered Toast 42 says, you're the jerk. Know what your partner wants and plan accordingly. And Strict Bar 4915 says, have you ever wondered if the quote-unquote blinding sunshine is a compliment? Being blinded by the sun is truly one of the most annoying sensations. Also, your husband hates surprises. You don't know this after all this time. It's all about you, it seems. You're the jerk. I actually wanted to bring up the nickname.
Same. I was like, after reading the whole story, I was reflecting on it. I was like, I don't know if this is actually as complimentary as OP seems to think it is.
It's like when you're driving down the street and you get blinded by the sun reflecting off of someone's windshield or something like that. It's like, yeah, thank you, sun. I enjoy the warmth sometimes, but I don't enjoy when you try to blind me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that these people are onto something. Maybe the blinding sunshine is a bit passive-aggressive. OB's like, it's such a lovely nickname. I'm the blinding sunshine. Completely oblivious that everyone is actually like, yeah, you're kind of the blinding sunshine here. I think that OP has a good heart. All right, I don't think that OP is malicious or anything like that. I think that their idea of what a good time and their partner's idea of a good time are misaligned. And instead of, like that one commenter said, trying to have a party for their actual husband, they're trying to throw a party for some imaginary husband that they've created in their mind, right? And he's never going to be happy if she doesn't destroy this illusion of the partner that she actually has, right? So she just needs to start accommodating her partner for who he is. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here. And Amber, she has a joke.
What did the shocked drawing say?
Well, the shocked drawing said...
Not that kind. We'll say, I guess I can't rephrase it. Color me surprised.
Oh, well, that was pretty surprising that I got jolted like that.
And it's National Coloring Book Day.
So go find yourself a coloring book or 2 or 3 and color them all at the exact same time using multiple pencils and hands and mouths and nose, nostrils and stuff like that.
This does not sound enjoyable at this point in time. Do not take Brian's advice. Just color as you would regularly.
And I have the special guest tea. I have the chocolate tea today. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy spectacular Saturday, folks. I hope your Saturday is off to a spectacular start. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on entitled partners.
If you want to throw a party for your partner, make sure you're planning it with their interests and needs in mind.
Exactly. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.